Well, like Pastor Nick alluded to here, our story from James here is on the power of words. So we're a little over halfway here this week, and you might have heard a familiar saying growing up. You might have used this with your kids. You might have used it teaching others. You might have heard it said to you a few times in your life. James doesn't outright say it, but it's something you might have grown up with here. So I want you to see if you can think of what that phrase might be. James says, "Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers and sisters, for you know that we who teach will be judged with greater strictness. For all of us make many mistakes. Anyone who makes no mistake in speaking is perfect, able to keep the whole body in check with a bridle. If we put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we guide their whole bodies. Or look at ships, though they are so large that it takes strong winds to drive them, yet they are guided by a very small rudder, wherever the will of the pilot directs. The tongue is a fire. The tongue is placed among our members as a world of iniquity. It stains the whole body, sets on fire the cycle of nature, and is itself set on fire by hell. For every species of beast and bird, of reptile and sea creature can be tamed and has been tamed by the human species. But no one can tame the tongue, a restless evil, full of deadly poison. With it no more can salt water yield fresh. Who is wise and understanding among you? Show by your good life that your works are done with gentleness, born of wisdom. But if you have any bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not be boastful and false to the truth. Such wisdom does not come down from above, but is earthly, unspiritual, devilish. For where there is envy and selfish ambition, there will also be disorder and wickedness of every kind. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and goodness, without any trace of partiality or hypocrisy. And a harvest from righteousness is sown in peace for those who make peace." This is the word of God and word of life. All right, so this is what I thought of when I first read through this. Sticks and stones, words will never hurt me. When I was younger, I can't remember myself the very first time that I ever heard this saying, but I can remember rattling it off in my head many times. I can remember even using it in a mocking way when someone was trying to say something mean to me as well. I remember using it against my sister. I remember maybe my sister using it against me, but I promise I was the good child growing up. She was the bad one. I'll let you decide how much truth is in that one there. But this phrase, it worked sometimes. Sometimes it gave me that little boost of extra confidence when someone was saying something to stand up against them. It definitely annoyed my sister when I would use it, because it was almost used in a taunting way back at them as they would say it. You would go, "Well, sticks and stones may break my bones, but your words are never going to hurt me." It's not all true, though. No matter how much we say that phrase, "Sticks and stones may break my bones," but words do hurt. Words, names, they'll never hurt me, ends up being a lie. Because words have a lot of power and they can really dig deep in a way that a stick and a stone never could. Those same words can also be used to heal and create love. Because words have a great deal of power. Why don't you take a second here? Think of the last time that someone said something to you that was just plain mean or was so ignorant that your feelings weren't considered. and it made you boil inside. It made you feel all hot, sweaty, warm, angry, hurt. It might be pretty easy to remember what that moment was. It's easy to think of those hurtful things. We know the power that those words can carry. So my last 2 years of college, I had the best job in the whole world, and I actually do think it was one of the best jobs I've had, working as a credit card collector in collections at a bank. Honestly, there were some days it was really, really hard, but most times it ended up being enjoyable because I got to hear stories from different people all across the country. So collectors, they are real humans on the other end. But anyway, so as I'm working this job, we end up cold calling customers all across the country, just because usually in my branch that I was in, it was just someone who missed a payment, maybe 2 at the most. 98% of the phone calls were very civil. They usually ended up with some sort of resolve. Most people just completely forgot. But I'm not going to tell you a story about that because that would be pretty boring here. Usually these civil conversations usually ended up with someone apologizing, conversation that was anything far from joyful. I called someone who was on the other side of the country, and he was so mad when he picked up the phone. Never met him in my life. And I can remember very vividly every hurtful word that he said, the whole conversation. Every hurtful word that he yelled at me through the phone, everything he told me to do with the computer at the end of the call here. I felt very confident in who I was that afternoon when I came in to work that day. But in just a couple minutes of a conversation in one phone call, I felt my spirit become completely deflated and my heart broken by someone I had never met and most likely I would never have a conversation with ever again. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me. It's a punch to the gut of a phrase that I was taught to use to stand up for myself, but words carry so much power, force, weight. The power of words that we use to guide us, direct us, are also the same words that are used to hurt, to tear down. But these are also the same words that we can use to build up, to speak hope, to share love. When spoken to us or when we read them, once that's done, once they're said, it's never taken back. We can forgive. We can forgive those words, but they're not taken back. They're never gone. Our world has to say it. James says, no human being can tame this tongue. It's a restless evil. Ships are steered by a small rudder and a wheel. A whole forest can be set on fire by just a small spark. A horse can be ridden. An animal can be tamed. But no human being